The rain was coming down in sheets as I stared out the window of my Seattle apartment, the Space Needle barely visible through the gray. I'm Felix, and until a few weeks ago I thought I had it all. A good job as a software developer, a comfortable home, and a loving wife. I was 43 and life felt settled. My wife, Gisele, worked as a marketing manager for a local coffee chain. We'd been married for 15 years, met in college, and built our life together brick by brick. Looking back, the first crack appeared subtly. Gisele started working later, attending more conferences, and generally being less available. I chalked it up to a demanding new project at work. I'm not the jealous type, I trust Gisele implicitly. Or I did. It started with a misplaced phone. Gisele left it on the kitchen counter one morning, something she never did. I glanced at it, intending to put it away when a notification popped up. Thinking of you. It was from someone named Kieran. Curiosity, a feeling I rarely experienced, gnawed at me. I unlocked her phone, something I also never did, and scrolled through the messages. They were explicit. Heartbreakingly so. My world tilted. Kieran was a colleague of Gisele's, a younger guy fresh out of business school. The messages spanned months, filled with declarations of love, secret rendezvous, and promises of a future together. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. The air left my lungs and I stumbled back, knocking over a stack of cookbooks. The sound echoed in the silence of our apartment, a stark reminder of the life that was crumbling around me. I spent the next few hours in a daze, rereading the messages, trying to make sense of it. How could she? Why? We were happy, weren't we? I replayed our last few months together in my head, searching for clues I'd missed. Her distractedness, her late nights, her sudden disinterest in our usual weekend activities, it all clicked into place with sickening clarity. When Gisele came home that evening, I was waiting for her. I held her phone in my hand, the screen displaying one of Kieran's more affectionate messages. Her face drained of color as she saw it. "Felix," she began, her voice trembling. "Who is Kieran?" I asked, my voice dangerously calm. She hesitated, stammered, and then the truth came pouring out. The affair had started 6 months ago, a moment of weakness, a mistake. She claimed she loved me, that it didn't mean anything, but the words rang hollow. The messages I'd read painted a different picture, a picture of a woman deeply infatuated with another man. I didn't yell, I didn't scream. I just listened numbly as she tried to explain herself. I asked her why, what she wasn't getting from me. She couldn't answer. She just kept repeating that she loved me, that she was sorry. But her actions spoke louder than her words. The next few weeks were a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and tearful conversations. We agreed to separate. The apartment, our shared life, was divided. I moved into a smaller place downtown, a sterile, characterless box that felt like a physical manifestation of my broken heart. I tried to understand. I talked to friends, family, even a therapist. They all offered their condolences, their advice, their platitudes, but none of it helped. The pain was a constant companion, a dull ache in my chest that wouldn't go away. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I couldn't focus on work. I was a shell of my former self. One evening, drowning my sorrows in a bottle of cheap whiskey, I decided I needed answers. I needed to understand why Gisele had done this to me. So I did something I probably shouldn't have. I contacted Kieran. I found his number online. He worked at the same coffee chain as Gisele in the marketing department. I called him, my voice trembling with a mixture of anger and desperation. He answered, his voice young and confident. "Hello, Kieran," I asked. There was a pause. "Who is this?" "This is Felix, Gisele's husband." The line went silent. I could hear his breathing on the other end. "Look," I said, "I just want to understand. Why did you do this? Why did you ruin my life?" He hesitated, then spoke, his voice surprisingly calm. "It wasn't my intention to ruin your life, Felix. I fell in love with Gisele. She wasn't happy. She told me you two were drifting apart." "Drifting apart," I repeated, incredulous. "We were married for 15 years. We had a good life, maybe," he said. "But she wasn't happy, and I made her happy." His words were like a knife twisting in my wound. I hung up, the anger bubbling inside me. I wanted to hurt him, to make him feel the pain I was feeling. I spent the next few days consumed by revenge fantasies. I imagined confronting him at work, exposing his affair to everyone. I imagined ruining his career, his life. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that wouldn't solve anything. It wouldn't bring Gisele back, it wouldn't erase the pain, so I decided to take a different approach. I decided to focus on myself, on rebuilding my life. I started going to the gym, eating healthy, and spending time with friends. I threw myself into my work, finding solace in the challenges of coding. It wasn't easy, but slowly, gradually, I started to heal. A few months later, I received a call from Gisele. Her voice was different, subdued. "Felix," she said, "I need to talk to you. We met at a coffee shop, a neutral ground." She looked tired, worn out. The spark that I had once loved was gone. "Kieran left me," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "He said he couldn't handle the guilt. He moved back to his hometown." I didn't say anything. I just looked at her. "I made a mistake, Felix," she continued, tears welling up in her eyes. "The biggest mistake of my life. I threw away everything for nothing. I felt a twinge of something, not pity, not exactly, maybe sadness. Sadness for the woman I had once loved, for the life we had lost. I don't know what to say, Gisele," I said finally. "I'm sorry, but it's too late. We're over," she nodded, tears streaming down her face. "I know," she said. I wanted you to know." We sat in silence for a few minutes, the weight of our shared history hanging between us. Then she stood up and walked away, disappearing into the crowd. I watched her go, a strange sense of closure washing over me. It wasn't the ending I had wanted, but it was an ending nonetheless. I had survived, I had healed, and I was ready to move on. Life isn't perfect. It's messy, complicated, and often unfair. But it's also full of possibilities. And sometimes the greatest betrayals can lead to the greatest transformations. I still think about Gisele sometimes, about what we had, about what we lost. But I don't dwell on it. I'm focused on the future, on building a new life, a life that is mine and mine alone. The rain outside has stopped. The sun is starting to peek through the clouds, casting a golden glow over the city. A new day is dawning, and I'm ready for it. It's been 2 years since that day in the coffee shop. I've met someone new, a kind and intelligent woman named Wren. We're taking things slow, but I feel hopeful. I've learned a lot about myself, about trust, and about the resilience of the human heart. I'm not the same man I was before Gisele's betrayal. I'm stronger, wiser, and more appreciative of the good things in my life. And that, I think, is the greatest revenge of all.